Angry MGTOW here, and today I'm talking about women after the economic collapse. Women after the economic collapse, it's going to be a very difficult time for women. An extremely difficult time for women, in fact. I've seen some pretty radical comments from guys who've talked about what will end up happening to women when the economy goes to hell. And this doesn't mean that society will collapse, it just means that certain people will no longer be able to sustain themselves in society based on a changing society. Warren 12B actually left a comment on one of my videos discussing this very notion. And he stated, I believe after the economic collapse, women will have two functions. Number one, they can be used as sex objects for a while and be used as a food source. And I know I hate to say that, but the truth is that cannibalism will occur after about 18 and 19 days without food. Thank you, Warren, for this incredible comment, and I can't disagree with you on that. People fail to understand that a life, hunger will make you do crazy things. Very few people have actually starved in the United States. It's something that people don't understand in America. They don't understand what it means to starve. The vast majority, the people living in their parents' basements, are these little hipster radicals that are protesting Trump or saying that we need to control, everyone needs free college and the Bernie bros, all of that crap. These people don't understand starvation, and they don't understand that when things go to hell and hunger sets in, people go crazy. And when people go crazy, people start to get eaten. And women are the weakest group out of all of us. Women are the weakest, easily most exploitable group. When things go to hell, the bastards of single mothers will be running the streets, and when they are starving to death, they are going to use women for those two primary purposes, sex and food. And that's really it. Some people are going to say that's just a horrible thing to say, angry, but it's the honest to goodness truth. You have to accept reality that the future for women is not positive. I mean, women have put themselves, their backs against the wall right now, and many of them will find themselves starving. Many of them will find themselves in incredibly poor situations. It's a downright and it's unfortunate thing, but it happens all the time. Time. Traversable MGTOW says you have to cook you women to 170 degrees or you will get vaginosis. And Traversable just left that in the comments. Traversable, would you like to come in here? Let me see if I can get Traversable in here, or if he just wants to listen. Would you like to come in? Alright, so we'll see if Traversable wants to come in. But yeah, guys, you know what? Actually, I can't let him in. I'm doing fuck me. I'm sorry, bro. I forget that. I can't get you in here because I'm using live stream software. Yeah, so I've actually switched over to live stream software, guys, and that's how you're actually able to see the angry MGTOW on the screen. So you're seeing the face instead of the other stuff. So with the live stream software, I can actually do things like show you videos and all kinds of other cool stuff. I'm kind of like addicted to it. Anyway, getting back to women and the and the economic collapse. In an economic collapse, women are gonna find themselves homeless, hungry, and being preyed upon by monsters. Back when I was homeless, women were the most easily exploitable group, period. Easily most exploitable group, period. I mean, they were unable to protect themselves against guys who are, just don't really give a damn about law. When I was homeless, women were being found dead and were found murdered. Naked and murdered women were found constantly when I was homeless. They were just being found all over the place. And it's downright insane when I think about that. I mean, it was so constant. I remember being around the other homeless people, and they were like, they found another girl over by the bridge. She was found naked, and her body was laying there. And it's like it was just one after the other. And you know, people think that it's a game. There was a guy that was going around in one city and setting homeless people on fire, while they slept. People think that this is a game, and when women end up homeless, it's downright ridiculous. I remember when I was homeless and there was this really hot chick, like you couldn't. This is like, I mean, she was a 9. I'm not fucking with you guys. She was a 9. She was a 9 and she was homeless. She wasn't an 8, she was a 9. There was a 9 that was homeless. And she wasn't the only pretty girl that was homeless, but she was like the best. She was like, the perfect skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, thin, petite, boobs, butt, everything was perfect on her. And you can see that she had like luggage with her. And I don't know how she ended up homeless, but homelessness can happen to anyone. And she ended up hanging around with this one guy that I met, and it was, his guy was kind of a scumbag. And I was talking to him, we were sitting down smoking, and he said to me, he was looking at her, and she was acting like she's, like her shit doesn't stink even while homeless. And he said to me, I fucked her. And now she's trying to act like that. And I said, what do you mean you fucked her? He said she came to my tent and asked if I had cigarettes, and I pulled her clothes off and fucked her. Guys, this is the honest truth. There you go. The same, and this guy could have had AIDS, I'll be honest with you. Like, he was a dirty type of guy. He could have had a disease, and this guy fucked her. This guy fucked her. You think that when women in the in an economic collapse, they'll be used for sex. If they don't have a disease, they're gonna catch one, and the bastards of single mothers are gonna pick them apart. I mean, in countries that have had serious economic collapses, there are stories about mothers leaving their children by the side of the road, or mothers even eating their children to survive. Starvation is no joke. I mean, I've been there. When you get to the point where you are starving, you become nauseated, like you want to vomit. You feel like you want to vomit, and you want food, but you can't get it. You become so crazy, so crazed, that you start looking at your own arm, and you would like want to eat your own arm. Like, it's that serious. I've been there many, many times, and it is not pleasant. Homelessness, starving, this type of shit is not fun. And women are going to end up in some serious situations. And I'll tell you this honest to goodness truth. When all of this bad stuff is happening to women, it's not going to affect all women. It's going to affect a lot of women. But it's not going to affect all women. And the women who are not affected by it, do you think that they're going to be going out and helping the other women on the street, the homeless women on the street that are suffering? I'm sure that there will be a public outcry. How can all these women be out on the street suffering? But here's the funny thing about that. If they say that all these women now on the street suffering, don't forget that men are the vast majority of homeless people. Men are like 80% of all homeless people in America, maybe more. Now think about this carefully. If all these women end up homeless in the economic collapse, and society starts, these women, there's an outcry, help these women, help these women. If you help those women, then what about all the homeless men that have been on the streets this entire time? You can't just ignore the men and look at the women. So that creates an interesting conundrum. A lot of those homeless women won't be able to survive. Companies like the Red Cross, they are going to be overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. People don't seem to notice what Donald Trump is saying. They're not looking at his words very carefully. They don't see the future that he's setting up. Let's talk a little bit about what he's doing, the things that he's doing, so you can understand where things are headed. First off, when it comes to Trump, he's saying that he's going to abortions are going to get banned nationally. So the states will decide whether or not they allow abortions, but it will not be something that is required within all states. So that's one thing that's going to happen. And he's saying, he's putting his foot down, abortions are going to be stopped. And, it'll be up to the state if they want to allow them. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. He's also cutting access to funds that allow poor women to get abortions. Because abortions aren't free, they cost money. And if poor women don't have access to the funds to get an abortion, they won't be able to get the abortion. This is where things are getting more interesting. Listen to this really carefully. Now, he's saying that he's also setting up, he's gonna, set up a program, improve maternity leave. So basically, guarantee a certain number of weeks for maternity leave. And he says that, business women. He's like, where are my business women? Where are the business women? So some crap like that. He was talking to them like children at his most recent rally. People don't seem to notice what he's pushing for. He's saying to women, you're going to have one of two choices, because he's actually closing a tax incentive that allows single people to file as head of households, meaning that single mothers will no longer be able to claim to get $10,000 back on their tax return for having 5 kids when they make virtually nothing. He's closing that shit down, and the Secretary of Treasury has already said that. So consider all of this. What he's basically saying to women is this: I'm cutting your social programs. I'm cutting off a lot of the programs that gave you all this reproductive freedom. You won't be able to kill babies. You won't be able to get free contraceptives. I'm going to cut that shit. You won't be getting free food. You won't be getting all of these things anymore. The government's not going to take care of you. So if the government's not handing out freebies, you're going to have two choices. You can be an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur, and find a way to make it work, or you can find yourself a man, but you will no longer be living off the government. Now let's talk about women very carefully. Women make up the vast majority of people working. Hear me out. Women make up the vast majority of people who work in lower paying jobs. We're talking about in fast food restaurants. We're talking about in healthcare as medical assistants. We're talking about in daycare. We're talking about in low paying jobs. Low paying jobs that don't have high skill requirements. Here's the thing, and this is where things get really funny and really interesting. Based on what Donald Trump is saying, many of these jobs are going to get eliminated. So, for example, the whole fight for 15, the Democrats and liberals are actually going to be the ones that kill off many of the jobs for themselves as they push through higher minimum wage standards in specific states. So in these states, you're going to have fewer jobs because they're not going to stop pushing forward for more higher minimum wage. And the higher the minimum wage goes, the more these lower paying jobs will disappear. McDonald's is going to fire significant amounts of employees in the next couple of years. In 2017, they will be putting kiosks in every McDonald's in the United States, all 4,000. They didn't say over the course of 2017, 18, 19, 20. No. They've been testing them out for years. They will be putting these kiosks in every McDonald's in the United States starting next year. And they've already been rolling out in Europe. This is going to eliminate so many jobs that it is ridiculous. Companies like Walmart, don't think that Walmart is not doing the same thing. You go to Walmart these days, and they have the self-service checkout area now, which most people prefer to use. A lot of people prefer to use the self-service checkout area, where you basically go, there's one person standing there watching everyone to help anyone if they need help. And basically people check out all their groceries using the touchscreen system. And it works out just fine. One person is there quickly helping to check out dozens, 20, 30, 40 people in an hour. These machines are literally replacing so many employees. Walmart is going to continue to mainstream and cut down on employees. You've got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. All these low-wage jobs are going to vanish, and as they vanish, women will not be able to compete at the higher levels. Women are not getting engineering degrees. Or if they do get an engineering degree, they're not working at the same capacity or same level as men in their field. Because women don't innovate, they don't create, they just mimic at best. But most women are not going in these directions anyway. They're going to college, but they're not going into these majors. You know the reason why? Because they can't handle them. Engineering is a math-intensive major. So there's a lot of logic involved in engineering. So you have to be able to think a certain way to understand this stuff. Not only that, you have to have a passion for it a lot of the time. So you have to be, not only do you have to understand the math, you also have to be able to have imagination to apply that math. So it's not something that you can just go into for the money. You actually have to have a passion for it. And this is where women get screwed. So you're going to see a lot more women getting screwed in these lower paying jobs as they vanish. And as they have fewer options, to go into lower paying jobs, they're going to find themselves unable to find a job. Why do you think Trump keeps talking about women entrepreneurs? Because he's saying that there's not going to be any more handouts going forward. You're not going to be able to get those lucrative 9 to 5 jobs anymore. Those jobs are disappearing. Okay? We will be living in the gig economy, and it's going to be all about, do you have the skills to do something? What do you have to offer? What do you bring to the table? What skills? What can you do? Are you a graphic designer? And if you're a graphic designer, are you able to generate an income around your capacity? My little brother, he was a healthcare worker, and he was able to generate an economy around himself by starting a business that way. Basically, the clients that his employer would send him to, he would create business cards. And he would give out his business cards to these employers so that they could actually reach out to him directly when they needed him. And he began creating an economy around himself so that he could make additional money. That's creating an economy around yourself. If you are not smart enough to create an economy around yourself, you will be fucked. If you're a graphic designer and you don't know how to market your skill set and find people that want you to work for them, that want to hire you to do this job, and you don't have a steady flow of jobs coming in, you're fucked. You're not going to have the lucrative position anymore where you can go into a 9 to 5 job, do a specific assignment, go home and get a dedicated check at the end of the month. It's not going to work like that. It's going to literally be, you will be taking on clients. You will have to go out and look for jobs for yourself. And you're going to have to wait until you complete the project before you get paid in many of these situations. This is the gig economy we're talking about. This is the new entrepreneurial economy that Trump is creating and shaping. And women are not going to survive in this. First off, many of the women today, once they hit around 35, they're done. Once they hit around 35, their bones start to creak. They start to say, I really want a baby, if they haven't had one by then. And they become miserable and start to say they want a man. All of these women, all of these young women today, as they hit the wall, they're going to suddenly say they want a man. They want a man, they want children. And they will not be able to find it. Trump is giving them 2 options. Have a job, preferably through starting a business or creating an economy around yourself, or become a mother and stick with it. Find a man to take care of you and your children. But you're not going to live off the government anymore. And the women who cannot make it through, they're going to fall in the middle, and they're going to fall into homelessness. They're going to be preyed upon by the bastards of single mothers who will be running wild in society. And I'm telling you right now that you're not going to see a lot of other women going out there and helping these homeless women. The women who have money, the women who are able to actually support themselves through the gig economy, they're going to be going out riding the cop carousel still. The whole thing, they're going to watch as other women suffer. They're going to turn the TV off. They're going to change the channels. Let me put it this way for you guys. Television shows and news outlets that have lots of female viewers, they're not even going to show the women this stuff if they come to realize that it makes women so upset seeing it that they stop watching. When women see bad things happening to other women, and their instinct is to usually look away. The only reason why women help other women is because they're worried that it could happen to them or it's something along the lines. But in most cases, when there's going to be a mass influx of women suffering, women are just going to look away. The people who have it, they're going to look away because men aren't going to help those women. And if men won't help those women, you think women are going to help those women? Do you think women are going to take their resources to help other women who are in need? If they can't get the men to take their resources and to help those women, you think they're going to take their resources to help those women? No. No. They're going to say that those women should have done things differently. They're going to say that they made mistakes. They're going to blame those women for where they are. They're not going to help them. They're going to walk right past them. Many of these women will get infections, diseases while they are homeless. Many of them may end up dead. Many of them may end up raped. Many of them will end up in horrible situations. That's where we're headed. That's the new world of things. That's the new economy of things. Wake the hell up. That's what the future looks like for women in an economic collapse. It's not pretty. Don't think it's going to be pretty. None of this shit is pretty. And women brought it onto themselves. They brought it onto themselves. They've done it to themselves. They created the misery for themselves. Women create the majority of all their own misery. That's something that has to be emphasized. Women create the majority of their own misery. It's the absolute truth. They do. Because nothing is ever enough for them. Women tend to thrive in chaos. But the thing is that when a woman gets older, when she starts hitting the wall, that's when she wants stability. When she can't use her sexuality and her looks to attract a man anymore, that's when she wants a nice guy. You know, I talked about this in another video. I'll talk about it here again. I had a therapist. About a year ago. And she was about 60. You could tell she was very pretty when she was younger. And as I was, becoming more MGTOW, I should say. So this is almost 2 years ago. As I was becoming more of a MGTOW and getting more cemented into my ways as a MGTOW, I didn't tell her I was a MGTOW, but I said, I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to have children. I'm just going to focus on myself and my own passion. And I'm starting to feel a lot better about myself and my life. And she goes, no, that's not good. And I said, why isn't that good? I'm feeling better about myself. She says, I want you to get married and have children. I said, why would you say that? She says, I want you to be a nice man. So I got really angry. And I said to her, okay, I'm going to call you out on this right now. Women don't like nice men. And I'm going to ask you personally, let's be honest. Did you date nice men? What kind of men did you date when you were younger? What kind of men do you like? I said, what kind of men do you like? She goes, I'll admit, when I was younger, in my younger years, I liked wild men. I liked men who did risky things. I liked the bad boy. Okay. So I said, what? But she said, now I want a nice guy. So I said, at what age did you start wanting a nice guy? She says, around 40. Around 40. Around 40. I mean, like, this, and short after she said that to me, that was the end of it for me. That was the end of therapy for me. I said, goodbye. Goodbye. We are done, lady. We are fucking done. We are fucking done. Okay? Because I don't know what possessed her to tell the truth. But, like, you could just see, it's like maybe she just didn't realize just how much of a hypocrite she was. Or did she think that men are so stupid that we can't see that you're using us? Honestly, she probably did. Because a lot of men are simps. And would say, well, not all women are going to be like that. Some women are going to change before they turn 40. It's not all women. That's how the Sims think. But I saw immediately, 40? Really? So basically, while you were young, all of your best years and even your decent years, you were out riding the cock carousel. And then once you became a tired old hag, then you suddenly wanted a nice guy to take care of you once your looks and your sexuality had faded away. You've got to be kidding me. That's the nature of these women. That's what you could expect from them. And so women have made their bed. Don't feel bad for women when you see them ending up in these bad situations. Don't feel bad for them. Don't feel sorry for them. Women have put themselves here. Women did it to themselves. All right? They put themselves in this situation. Feminism is just female nature left unchecked. And let me tell you this, guys. Women are going to resent feminism for generations. I didn't say for decades, I said for generations. Generations of women will resent feminism. They will resent feminism for generations. They will resent women who identify as feminists, and they will resent the men, they will resent female-minded men as well. Weak, effeminate men are going to become targets for women. When I say targets, I mean bigger targets than they already are. Weak, effeminate men are going to be spit upon and scorned. It's ironic that society has destroyed and weakened men to this point, because the men who are now weak and effeminate are going to be the ones that are destroyed by society. The very men that women created, the manginas that women created, they are going to scorn them. Scorn them. And it will be brilliant watching it as these sad, pathetic dogs are getting what they deserve. As they chose to serve these horrible narcissistic women and call them master. And now the Nanginas, George Sadini in the comments says he calls them the Nanginas. Yeah, and now they will fall victim to their own doing. They will be punished thoroughly. And you know what's funny? A lot of these women will take advantage of them as well. If they have any resources, they have anything, they'll strip the manginas of whatever they have. These weak, effeminate-minded men, and they will leave them with nothing. They'll take their food, they'll take whatever they can get out of them. You're going to see a lot of the Nanginas, I love that word, Nanginas, coming to MGTOW and trying to find sympathy and help. I'm telling you, men, I'm telling you guys, be on alert. You can smell out a mangina. You can see a guy who's a mangina a mile away. All you gotta do is ask a few questions. A lot of times, they'll reveal themselves based on the things that they say. There was a guy in the comments talking a lot of shit earlier. And I was reading some of his comments, and then I realized, holy cow, this guy is a mangina. And I just kept watching and watching all the crap he said until I noticed where he mentioned his fiance. And then he calls himself a MGTOW. You're going to have guys like this coming around more and more. Guys ostracized from society. Men who are still dealing with women coming to MGTOW looking for comfort and support. Coming here looking for food, resources, for men to help them. Don't be fooled by these men. Don't be fooled by these idiots. Don't call them brother, because they're not your brothers. Let me tell you something. A person who you call brother is someone that you've been through shit together with, that you can collectively relate to, that understands where you're coming from. You don't just call anyone brother for the sake of calling someone brother. We are not all brothers. You must be kidding me. Learn to recognize weak men and learn to distance yourself from them, because they are just as bad as the women, if not worse, because they are the men that enabled them to behave the way they did, to do the things they did. They're the ones, it's the manginas that have truly brought down society. We need to make that clear. Not the women, it's the manginas, because they empowered the women to do this. They helped to indoctrinate other men into allowing the notion of the golden vagina to grow and rise in society. They are directly responsible for all of this shit. So no man, no guy should be out there trying to even think about helping these guys. Let the scum stay on the ground where it is. Leave the scum where it is. When you look at the guys who fucked up the lives of so many other men and then say, well, they didn't know any better. If you're thinking that way, then then honestly, you haven't gone far enough in MGTOW yet. You haven't. Because MGTOW is about taking care of yourself, focusing on your own needs and your own wants. If you're dumb enough to give away your resources to some guy that would fuck you over in a heartbeat, then you haven't learned anything in MGTOW yet. You're not putting yourself first. You're not focusing on your own needs. You're still focusing on trying to please others. And if you're foolish enough to please a nangina, shame on you. Shame on you. Because you will have your life ripped apart. They are sniveling creatures and they should be left where they stand. Do not help them. Do not help the sniveling mangina. Leave them be along with the women. Let them sit there and wallow in their own shit that they made. They made their bed, let them lay in it. I made a video recently where a woman wrote in and she was saying that she is afraid of all the things that are happening, the relationship between men and women. She's not a woman who will be able to survive in survive working for the rest of her life, and she's not as strong as men are, and she's not as strong as other women who are able to do this. She's not one of those strong women. She's afraid that she'll end up homeless, and she doesn't know what to do. What should she do? And I basically said to her that she's fucked. She's fucked. Either she'll get with the program, focus on building something for herself, working jobs, or she's fucked. She'll end up homeless, and that's the end of that. And I think she wrote it for attention. At least that's part of the reason. But at the end of the day, I gave her the honest answer. Either you live, either you work or you die. That's pretty much it. If you want to eat, you're going to work. You're going to have to take care of yourself. That's a society women have created for themselves. There won't be any more free rides. Again, don't forget that in science, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And the equal and opposite reaction to feminism and what has happened to men will be a series of men who want to have absolutely nothing to do with women, are no longer giving their resources to women, not getting married to women, and a group of women who no longer can get access to government subsidized living, healthcare, food, all of that crap. All of those benefits will be taken off the table. And you know what's funny about all of this? The irony is that the government will use the excuse, come on ladies, you've had this stuff for generations. Alright? You've been getting these freebies for generations. Alright, okay? You're on borrowed time. Now it's time to get your shit together. Again, we're not going back to the 1950s. Trust me on that one. And especially with technology advancing, sex bots on the horizon, and trust me, sex bots are really changing things around us. These lifelike sex dolls are becoming sex bots with warm skin and lubricated vaginas that actually feel like a real vagina, and they can talk to you and say comforting things to you, or say sensual things or seductive things. Guys, women are being replaced. A lot of guys would happily prefer their hand over a woman these days. And you're telling me you can get yourself a nice sex bot for a couple of $1,000s? A lot of guys are going to take that. In Japan, sex doll parlors, sex doll, not sex bot, sex doll parlors that have lifelike sex dolls are thriving in Japan. Men are paying good money to go and have sex with a sex doll. I remember, a story about how this guy he went and spoke to one of the guys who owned a sex doll parlor, and he said, "How's business?" And this guy was just so happy. He said, "Business is thriving, thriving. Business is thriving." Because men would rather fuck a sex doll than have sex with a woman in Japan. Between about 50% of all men between the ages of 18 and 40 are virgins in Japan, and they call themselves herbivore men. Here's the thing: the herbivore men, they unanimously say they have no interest in sex. But some of these men have to be having sex with these sex dolls, or a lot of them are involved in relationships with computer games and so forth. So it's not that it's not that they have no interest in sex. They simply have no interest in women. Lifelike biological women, they do not have any interest in them. They would rather go be virgins for the rest of their lives. They would rather never have sex, any type of sexual release, than have anything to do with these harpies. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you agree that in the economic collapse, women will find themselves homeless, hungry, will be preyed upon for sex by the bastard of single mothers, and may even find themselves being eaten by as a result of cannibalization. Because once hunger sets in, people go crazy. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. If you agree that the future for women is pretty damn bleak. So let me know what you think. And if you enjoy these daily podcasts, I'm going to ask you guys nicely to just head on over to my YouTube homepage and click on the PayPal link and leave me a donation. Any amount helps to ensure that I can make these podcasts for you on a regular basis. And if you have a topic, you can just leave that in the memo section when you're sending over your donation. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, please subscribe. And if you liked the video, share the video. What? Shoe on Head is in the chat. Someone said Shoe on Head is in the chat. Shoe on Head is in. Okay, hold on a second. What the hell is Shoe on Head? So I was just about to end my video and someone said Shoe on Head is in the chat. Okay, I don't know what the hell that is. I guess I don't see her in the chat. I don't see Shoe on Head in the chat. I'm looking through. Unknown MGTOW said Shoe on Head is in the chat. And Armor Learn, what the hell is going on? Yeah, guys, so I'm about to end the video. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. And if you enjoyed the video, like the video. And just remember that not some roads, but all roads lead to MGTOW or death.